Car commercials are insane when you really think about it. First off, they try to talk like this and make it seem like buying a car is the most transformative decision of your life, while simultaneously being something you just do on a whim. The whole, honey, I surprised you with a car commercial trope is especially insane because who is out there surprising their family members with a $60,000 car? For most people, that is not a surprise type of purchase. That is a sit down and deeply discuss while reviewing your budget type of purchase. SNL made a hilarious sketch about this exact commercial phenomenon a few years ago, and it is surprisingly a great peek into the topic of being car poor that we are going to talk about today.
Merry Christmas, baby.
Are you kidding me, Nathan? Did you seriously buy a car without asking me?
For Christmas.
This is a major purchase.
Give the gift of Lexus and definitely talk it over first.
With the average monthly car payment totaling $737 for new cars and $520 for used, cars need to be seen for what they truly are, a huge financial burden that can wreck your finances if done wrong. What's ironic about all of this is in those insane car commercials and in our cultural mentality as a whole, cars are viewed as a symbol of success and freedom, and yet, for most people, cars end up being an absolute money trap that they do not see coming.
You can take that fake apology and shove it right up your hairy.
So what exactly is car poor and how do we avoid the traps of being car poor? Very excited to talk about this in today's video because cars are such a huge part of people's finances and their costs can cause many people to not be able to save enough money. But for some reason, I feel like they do not get enough attention. You know, we hear a lot about daily lattes or avocado toast, but we seem to ignore these big ticket items in the conversation. Things like cars, which we're talking about today, and things like buying a house, which is something that I covered in one of my recent videos on being house poor. Go check out that video after you watch this one, by the way. There's been some really great conversations in the comment section on that video. And if you want to keep up with all my videos about money and media and culture, be sure to hit that subscribe button to keep up. I'm also coming out with a newsletter this month that dives more into topics around money and culture. I'm very, very excited about it. I think you guys are really gonna like it, especially if you like these videos. So go to my description box for more information on how to subscribe to that. Okay, so first off, the definition of being car poor is spending beyond one's means on a car. That might look like owing more on an auto loan than the car is even worth, or paying more for your car than your income is worth, or it can just mean that yes, you can technically pay off your car every month, but it is leaving you financially tight, maybe even forcing you to live paycheck to paycheck. A great example is Ross Geller from Friends. If you guys remember my financial audit of the Friends characters, you'll remember that Ross impulsively bought a red sports car for his 30th birthday. Well, when you do the math, you realize that Ross was totally car poor because of that decision. Yeah, he had a great job as a professor making probably around $80,000 a year or around $4,500 a month after taxes, but once you account for car payments and insurance and maintenance in New York City parking, Ross was likely spending around $1,500 a month, or a third of his take-home pay, just on that car.
Ross, a sports car? Wouldn't it have been cheaper to just stuff a sock down there?
An impractical car at that. And you might be thinking, well, if he can still make his car payments, what's the problem? All right, saying he's car poor is a tad overdramatic. But the thing is, experts recommend keeping transportation costs under 15% of your budget. Overspending puts you at risk. If your brakes fail or a home repair pops up, you might have no financial cushion, forcing you to put expenses on a credit card. Plus, cars come with hidden costs that add up really fast. Unfortunately, too many people have no idea where their money is going, let alone how much money is going toward their car. Whoa, well now that is not true for me at least. I, for one, know exactly where my money is going. Oh geez, that's my financial nemesis, Hat Cara. She wears hats and makes money mistakes like nobody's business. Hat Cara, do you even track your spending? Do you have a financial plan? Not exactly. It's more of a vibes-based plan. Vibes-based, gotcha. It doesn't have to be so hard. You could use today's sponsor, Rocket Money, to help you keep track of your spending, keep on top of upcoming bills, and help you stick to a budget. And it is completely free to download. Whoa, wait, did you just pull a sponsorship break on me? Really? Cara, this is why no one wants to be friends with you. Plus, face it, You don't have cool hats like me. I just never know when the appropriate time is to wear a hat. But okay, that is besides the point. You have different subscriptions, right? Like you have your streaming services and your food delivery stuff. No, I'm not using those right now. Okay, pretty sure I canceled them already. You sure about that? Because according to Rocket Money, they're all still active. What? Shoot, that is like $100 a month. Also, how did you get my login info? Cause I'm you and you're me, and this isn't just a sponsorship segment. This is philosophical theater on the different identity layers within ourselves. I don't know what you mean, but I guess you're right. Rocket Money made it really easy to see where my money was going. Not only that, but they'll help handle canceling your subscriptions for you. They've already canceled over 2.5 million subscriptions for their members. Oh dang, that's pretty great. Okay. All right, finish your sponsorship thing then. I gotta go shine my hat collection anyways. Okay, well, like I was saying to Hat Cara, Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, and manage your money better. With Rocket Money, you can also create a customized budget in seconds. The app shows you where your money is going at all times and identifies top spending categories with insights on how you can stay within your budget better. Download Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/Cara, C-A-R-A, or click the link in the description below to get started for free. You can also unlock even more features with premium. That's rocketmoney.com/Cara, and a huge thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. So we already know that too many people aren't keeping an eye on their small money decisions, but the same thing is happening to big car purchases too. And I think it's worth asking why we keep on falling for the car poor traps. I mean, Reddit is chock full of car poor stories, like this one where the poster shares that they spend $1,150 a month on their truck, or this person who wrote about their $477 a month payment for a Jeep, saying it was, quote, probably worst financial decision of my entire life. It's hard to read these and make sense of what was going on through these people's brains. I mean, how does over $1,000 a month of car payments ever sound like a good idea, especially for something that depreciates in value over time? The common claim is that new cars lose 10% or more of their value the minute that you leave the dealer's lot. I mean, think of all the things that you could buy with $1,000 a month. Weekend getaways, half of your rent, dinners out with friends. Or from an investing standpoint, throw $500 a month into S&P 500, and in 15 years, you would have nearly $200,000. Do 30 years instead, and you have nearly $1 million. And that is just if you decided to do a $500 a month payment instead of a $1,000 one. $500 is still a huge car payment to be tethered to. But what people don't always realize when signing on to buy or lease a car is just how expensive these suckers can really be. Going back to that SNL commercial that we showed earlier, it's easy for us to get anchored onto the due at signing cost and forget about all of the monthly payments that we're gonna have to do for years after.
How much did you spend on this ridiculous car, Nathan?
It was only $39.99 to its signing. $4 grand. It's not that much, babe.
And how much is the monthly payment?
The what?
Did you think this entire car cost $4,000?
Uh-huh.
There's a monthly payment!
Yeah, but with the 0% APR, I think it's all good.
APR? Do you mean APR?
I'm pretty sure it's APR.
Wow.
By the way, APR, or APR that they're talking about, that stands for annual percentage rate, and it equals the borrowing cost for when you take out a loan to buy a car. The APR that you can get on a car loan will depend on how good your credit score is. This chart breaks down the most recent APR averages depending on your credit score, and it is jaw-dropping. Even at the best credit score level, you are still looking at around 5 to 7% interest rate. But say you have a worse off credit score, you could be looking at 15 to 20% annual interest rate. For reference, let's say that someone buys a car where there's a low down payment offered of just $1,000 due at signing, which makes the car seem like a great deal. But because of a low credit score, the buyer gets hit with an 18% APR on a $30,000 loan over the next 6 years. That means that the monthly car loan payments are around $650, and by the end of the loan, they'll have paid over $46,000 on a $30,000 car. The low upfront cost felt affordable, but the high APR makes the car way more expensive in the long run. And that's not even factoring in costs like insurance, maintenance, registration fees. Do enough digging online and you'll find plenty of people who are speaking up about how overwhelming the car expenses are, especially when they finance their vehicle.
Although I don't completely regret my decision to finance a car, I do want to de-influence you if you are somebody who's in the process or who is looking into financing a vehicle.
That's not to say that financing your car is never the right decision. For some, it might be the only way to afford a car. But if we go down the financing route, we have to consider the terms of the loan, like how long is it and what's the APR? And we have to consider whether the car that we're buying is really worth it, especially if the loan is worth more than the car, which happens way more than you would think. According to the Washington Post, nearly 1 in 4 consumers owe more on such loans than the vehicle is worth. At the same time, the average new car price is nearing $50,000. If you were to stick to the recommendation of keeping transportation costs under 15% of your budget, you would have to be making at least $100,000 to afford a $50,000 car. And most people are not making that amount. So why is this happening? What is going on? Well, there are some post-pandemic supply chain issues that caused the price hikes for a while. One of the biggest reasons that I could find when I was researching this was that people just want more expensive cars these days. And I think a huge element of that is genius marketing, plus keeping up with the Joneses culture. As Newsweek reported, quote, manufacturers cite disappointing sales results as primary reasons for discontinuing smaller, more affordable vehicles from their lineup. Car buyers' preferences have also shifted dramatically to larger trucks and SUVs in the past 10 years or so, and even more toward high-tech and comfort amenities. So if wanting bigger and better cars is a large influence on people becoming car poor, let's talk about the marketing. As I said earlier, there are too many car commercials to count, and even things that don't look like car commercials, they are often secret car commercials. Anyone remember that car chase scene from the Barbie movie where the Chevrolet car rolls up and it literally looks like they copy and pasted it straight from a TV commercial? Product placement right there. Get in! Car companies spend billions of dollars a year selling a dream, and it works. They're not just selling you a vehicle, they're selling you a lifestyle, a personality upgrade, a status symbol. Think about how car ads are almost never about practicality. They don't show you sitting in traffic or dealing with repairs. Instead, it's wide open roads, scenic views, and the feeling that this car is gonna finally make you someone. Dropping in this short clip from my Fake Rich Flexing Cybertrucks edition video because the marketing around the Cybertruck is one of the best examples of recent memory of ads that aren't about practicality, but about a feeling. The marketing leans heavily into the idea of dominance over nature, suggesting that owning a Cybertruck isn't just about driving, it's about commanding the environment. This kind of marketing has managed to normalize this idea that the bigger, the fancier, and the more expensive equals the better, and if you settle for less, you were somehow behind. Car commercials, they don't want you to see cars for the financial burdens that they can truly be. They want you to believe that having a car is going to make you look chic or cool or tough or desirable or successful. And they don't want you to just want their cars. They want you to need their cars. The automobile industry has a long history of lobbying the government to make laws favor cars more than they favor people. It is crazy to realize that roads used to be made with pedestrians in mind until lobbying forced car dependence through poor urban planning. The Smithsonian Magazine has a great article chronicling the switch from when roads were ruled by pedestrians to becoming ruled by cars instead. They write, quote, "When you visit any city in America today, it's a sea of cars, with pedestrians dodging between the speeding autos. It's almost hard to imagine now, but in the late 1890s, the situation was completely reversed. Pedestrians dominated the roads, and cars were the rare, tentative interlopers interlopers. Horse-drawn carriages and streetcars existed, but they were comparatively slow. I talked about this phenomenon in my video, The Problem with the Suburbs, and it unfortunately plays a huge role in the car poor trap. Because on one hand, cars can be expensive, huge liabilities, and they are a depreciating asset. And at the same time, most places in the US at least make it insanely difficult to exist without owning a car. Vox writes about the impossible paradox of car ownership, describing its expensive yet essential nature. They explain that among one group of housing voucher recipients, quote, those with cars were twice as likely to find a job and 4 times as likely to remain employed. This puts people in such a difficult balancing act because yes, we have to be careful about falling into aspirational marketing and peer pressure that makes certain car purchases an ego boost and a wallet drain. And yes, we have to be wary of a car's hidden costs, from maintenance to insurance to interest rates. But at the same time, we can't always go without a car or we risk losing our income. And we want to be careful about buying a car that won't break down and is relatively safe, especially when you consider how little education we get on the topic of buying cars. It's a tough line to balance. My opinion is that there is a smarter way that we can approach buying cars. I still wish that our urban design made us not so reliant on cars in the first place, but since we don't have that yet, we can advocate for it though. Cars are what we have for now. And I think that the smart way involves buying used cars, never ever new ones, because used cars are often 30 to 40% cheaper for the same functionality. It's also about reminding yourself that we are buying for function, not for status. There will always be someone on the road with a fancier car than you, and there will probably always be some stranger out there who is gonna judge whatever car you're driving, even if it is a fancy one. So stop stressing about how your car reflects on you, because hot take, people with actual lives and interesting personalities, they don't care about what kind of car you drive and whether it's cheap. And yes, I'm putting myself into that category of a person with a life and an interesting personality. And I guess I will judge if you have a gas guzzling car or one of those really big cars where you can't see a kid right in front, so you're gonna run them over. But if you're driving a cheap car, no, I'm not gonna judge, because I have a life. And lastly, remind yourself that there is an opportunity cost for everything. If you are staring down the barrel of a hefty monthly payment for a new car, just think about all of the other places where you could be spending that money. Remember, life is not about flexing, it is about freedom. And avoiding being car poor gets you one step closer to financial freedom. But what do you guys think? Have you been car poor before, or do you know somebody who has? Let me know your thoughts and your experiences in the comments below. And be sure to check out my video on being house poor if you haven't already. Go see that, I think you'll really like it. And be sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos on money, media, and culture. Thank you so much to my patrons on Patreon and those on Buy Me a Coffee for supporting this channel. And don't forget to also check out my new newsletter that is also about pop culture and money topics. I'll put information down below, so go look at that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!